Hi, my name is Alina. I'm from Mexico, and well, hi. Let's start. Who next?
I'm Julia. I'm from Brazil, and this is our special podcast for our virtual exchange. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So, hi, I'm Laisa. I'm from Brazil, and we are going to answer some questions to keep some information from our COIL meetings.
And I am Marcelino Sotelo. I'm from Hermosillo, Sonora, Mexico.
Okay, great. Hi, you all. So we're starting sharing our own experiences about how do we learn English. In my case, it was most by myself, but also school can give me an introduction, like for the verb to be, for the tense of the verbs, and of course, school give us an instruction about grammar and vocabulary and the uses of the tense, the past, the list of the verbs, where which one were irregular and regular, and in all those aspects, school give me all those tools. But in conversation, I mean, um, in comprehension of listening, it was mostly by myself.
Yeah.
You wanna go, Marcelino?
Yeah, sure. Like, could you just repeat the question to make sure?
Okay, how did you learn English? What is your own
Okay,
experience?
same. Yeah, just making sure. Okay. I mostly learn it by myself, uh, by exposure to English language media, movies, television, reading, of course. Uh, Later on would be the internet, and the rules themselves will be refined in English classes, basically. Like, uh, I grew up. My first years, rather, were in the border, so we had all of that to our disposal. And then after that, when we finally moved here to Hermosillo, uh, it was mostly on my own, but just interacting with people abroad online and stuff. More than anything. So that's pretty much just it, really.
I learned English basically studying in a language school, but all the interactions were really artificial. So the through literacy, I learned how to use English in real contexts. We're basically consuming cultural content, so also movies and music, where I could apply all the vocabulary I learned in the language school. Grammar was a little bit difficult because we didn't see much, so it was something I just developed during high school, studying specifically English in high school and also the American high school I studied as well, and in university. So basically, this.
Okay, thank you very much, Liza. And Julia, it's time for you to share us.
So I learned English when I started to learn to have contact with English when I was very, very little, like when I was 8 years old. I started to see pop music videos on YouTube, and I really wanted to know what like Lady Gaga was singing.
Yes.
So I started to study by myself too. But the open-minded way to learn and to study English for me was the language school, as Laida said, and um, reading books. I was a really real huge fan of Percy Jackson since I was like 12. The
Mm.
books, Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
And I read the books in Portuguese like three times, and then I asked myself, like, why not learn read it in English? And then I started to read it, and I like it a lot. So I everything that I read now it's in English. I love to read books in English now. So I learned it like this: reading books and listening to music, to pop music, to be more specific.
Well, let's go for the next question, which is which of the the phonemes in English is the hardest in our own experience, and Marcelino and I from Spanish experience, and you guys from the Portuguese experience. So I'm going to start with this. For me, could be the th pronunciation. I mean, some words at the beginning of the learning, like thick or think or sometimes the slight differences in the pronunciation change the meaning, and that specific part took me a few, well, it took me longer than another phonemes or sounds, and could be the R, not vowels, but the R could, as the beginning of the process of acquiring the language, give me some troubles because a Spanish speaker is so used to make a more emphasis on the R. In English are very soft, like R, and we are like R. And so that I couldn't probably had more, but I want to focus only on those, the TH and the R.
In my experience, words with R, especially the soft R, are the ones that I find are the ones I find a lot of difficulty with because they're not. I describe them as soft R's, but in Spanish, the soft R is like it. I don't know if you guys uh, get me there. Like for example, if I said Julia's last name, Medeiros, you can tell it's Medeiros, like it. Meanwhile, if I said Correa, which is the late Liza's last name, Correa, that's the strong R.
Yeah,
But
totally.
in English,
I am
yeah,
totally
but
in the same page with him.
in English, it will be like Medeiros, right? That's easy.
Yes,
But then you have like
yes, exactly
R,
that.
R, or I want to think of something else. Uh, Spider. Well, that's also easy. I'm actually having difficulty remembering the words that are difficult for me right now, but there's a lot where I find myself, especially in casual conversation, and it's like I listen to myself and I say, "Ooh, no, that's really bad. I'm not supposed to say it like that." The other words I have problems with are stuff like world, word, work, because only until this semester did I learn that you didn't say them as world or work. It's work. There's more of a there's the syllable the vowel sounds there are not as clear cut as they look in as their spelling would indicate. And finally, the S sounds in general, I found myself overpronouncing them too much. Like, for example, if it's a word that ends with S, I say the S too loudly and too stressed. And also, like, well, it's almost like a lisp, even like every time. Every time I hear myself saying that, making that sound a lot, even when those sounds are not really present in the words I'm saying. So, um, that would be why I have the most difficulty with in my pronunciation and speaking in general.
In Portuguese, as we already talked about in the previous meetings, uh, it's very similar to Spanish. So we also have this topic with the R, the pronunciation of the letter R, Not as much as in Spanish, but we also have this because of our different accents here in Brazil. They are especially focused on this letter, and also to pronunciate the letter H and all the letters in a word, because in Portuguese we pronunciate all the letters of the word, and in English some words we just have this silence on some letters, and we don't pronunciate it. So we want to say every single letter of the word. So basically that's it. And Julia can continue to talk about it.
I totally agree with Laisa. Like, um, we Brazilians, we want to pronunciate and say like all the vowels and all the letters present in the word. Like, um, the word development. We really want to say like development. You know,
Yes, yes.
Brazilians are used to do that. And as Alina said, I like in a personal way, I have a problem with the th too, like three and tree, like the number and the plant. So it was hard for me to understand this difference and to get like to my speaking skills too, like three, thought, think. It's hard for me to differentiate. I don't know, but maybe to understand the several ways to pronounce this word. So I think this was like my maybe my hardest phonemes that I would point. Like I don't know, guys. I think that's it.
So yes, it's interesting to see all the similarities during the process of acquiring and during the process of know how to pronounce some phonemes or some vowels. So it's very interesting. And well, this is an in our experience. Well, this is it.